covering for this particular unit. So you're going to have a curve, you're going to have a straight, and you're going to have a horizontal. So now you need to understand that each one of them are connected to each other, and this is the order of the curves, or the order of the lines. So a curve is followed by a straight line, and a straight line is followed by a horizontal line. Now it's very important to understand, guys, that when I use this in class, I call it the CSH method, and this is the order of the lines. That's what I call it, order of lines. So that's the progression, guys. So every time, guys, you are in my class and you encounter a graph, you need to understand that when you see a graph, guys, there's only two things that you can do from a graph. One is the slope, and the other one is the area, guys. Now, the area, guys, is something that we're going to talk about it later on the week, most likely next week. And when you deal with a slope, guys, you need to understand that it's the rise over the run. Simple. Keep it simple. Rise over the run. So that's pretty much how the things are started. So just to visualize them better, curve, guys, it looks something like that. Straight looks like a line, and the horizontal, guys, looks like a flat line. Perfect. So I'm going to start with the horizontal, guys. It is the simpler one. So a horizontal line, guys, only has two features when you deal with these things. So it's going to be a line, guys, that is either going to be up like that or down like that. And of course, this is my X and my Y axis. So it's always flat, horizontal. Now, when you encounter one of these graphs, guys, you need to understand that this represents zero slope. Now, later on, I'm going to explain you what the slope represents. So this one means zero slope. So when you deal with a horizontal line, your job, guys, first and foremost, is identify that you're dealing with a horizontal line, and to understand that the horizontal line has zero slope. So now the next thing that we have, guys, is the straight. So when you have a straight, guys, you're going to be dealing with four different kinds of graphs. So I'm going to draw all of them right now for you, and I'm going to give you all the features that you need to remember. So you're going to have that one, you're going to have that one, and that one. And let me finish drawing it because I know it looks kind of weird right now. So this is the X, 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 the Y, the Y, the Y, the X, and the Y. Now, as you can see, guys, when you're dealing with a straight, you always are going to understand that it's a straight line. You need to always identify that you're dealing with a straight line. You also, guys, need to understand that you're dealing with something that could be positive or it could be negative. And what I mean by that is it could either be positive or negative slope. And then you're dealing, guys, as well with something that is a constant slope. So this is one of the main features of a straight line. There is always, always, always a constant slope. So how do I know when something is positive or negative? Positive, guys, is when something is going up. As you see, it's going up. Negative is when something is going down. So this one represents a negative slope. This one represents a positive slope. Now this one is going down, so negative slope. This one is going up, so it's positive slope. That's how you identify them. And they're always constant. So finally, the next thing that we need to study is the curve. Now the curve, guys, also has four different kinds of graphs that you're going to be encountering. And again, I'm pardon for the drawings. I'm doing my best here, guys, to draw them, so bear with me. So you're going to have that curve, that one, and that one. So this one represents the X, of course, the X, the X, the Y, the Y, the Y, the Y. Now, when you're dealing with a curve, guys, your first job is to identify that you're dealing with a curve. Second thing that you need to understand is that all curves, guys, have a changing slope. That means that the slope is not constant. It's always changing. That's a feature that the curves have. Also, guys, you need to understand that it could be a positive or a negative slope. So when you're dealing with a particular slope like this, guys, how do you tell if it's a positive or negative? So the way I do it, guys, is that I pick a point inside the particular curve, and then I draw a line that is connecting to that particular curve. Now if you notice, this line, guys, is easier to identify because the line, guys, is going up. This one is going up, this one is going down, and this one is going down. So when the line goes up, guys, you have a positive slope. When the line is going up, you have a positive slope. When the line is going down, you have a negative slope. Negative slope. And when the line is going down, you have a negative slope. So that's one thing that you guys already got out of the way. And you know that every single one of them is a curve and it's a changing slope. But most importantly, guys, the next thing that you need to remember when you're dealing with a curve is that you either can have an increasing or a decreasing slope. So how do you identify that? So I'm going to give you a hint. I'm going to change it to the next page and then I'm going to go back to explain that. So what I do, guys, to be able to explain is I use the following method. It's like this one represents the valley, which is the lower area or something, and this one represents the hill, which is the highest point of a particular something. So the valley, guys, and the hill are going to be negative, and anything, guys, that is on the opposite ends is going to be positive. So with that in mind, guys, I'm going to go back now to the other drawing. If you notice, this particular part is a valley. So a valley is negative and the other part is going to be positive. This one right here is a hill. So it's going to be negative and this part is going to be positive. This one is a valley, so negative. This one's positive. And this one is a hill, so negative and positive. Now with that in mind, going back to these things. When you guys go from positive to negative, so that means that you start at an end point and you go towards a valley, then your function, guys, is decreasing. When you go from a negative point to a positive part, then your function is increasing, guys. Your slope is increasing. This one, from positive to negative, you are decreasing. From negative to positive, you are increasing. So it's very important to understand, guys, that this is only for the increasing and decreasing. Don't get confused with the positive or negative slope. Now, a lot of people tell me, is it possible to have a positive slope and be decreasing? Of course, that is possible. So I'm going to give you an example. So you have the following curve, guys. This curve, guys, as you can see, has a positive slope. So positive slope. We know that it's changing slope. We know that it's a curve. But most importantly, is it increasing or decreasing? So if I pay attention to this part, guys, even though you don't see it, if I were to extend this particular graph, then you see that that's the rest. So this part right here, guys, represents a hill. I know that a hill is always negative. So the opposite side, guys, has to be positive. So as this graph, and they always go from left to right, guys. Let me spell left. I apologize. From left to right. As they go from left to right, you go from positive to negative. So even though the slope is positive, this system is decreasing, guys. This particular equation or this particular graph is decreasing. So this particular graph is going to be a curve, positive slope, changing slope, and is going to be decreasing. Perfect, guys. If you have any more questions, guys, don't forget to send me questions on Google Classroom. And I hope you enjoy the video. Have a wonderful day.